David McCallum was born David Keith McCallum on September 19, 1933 in Glasgow, Scotland. McCallum grew up in a home where music and art were a big part of everyday life. His father, David McCallum Sr., was a famous violin player and conductor with the London Philharmonic Orchestra. His mother, Dorothy Dorman, played the cello. This deep love for music in his family shaped his early years and gave him a lifelong love for creative expression. Even though he first learned classical music and even went to study at the Royal Academy of Music, he eventually decided to focus on acting instead. He signed up at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, or RADA. It was there that he improved his skills and built the foundation for the amazing career that came next. McCallum first appeared in British movies during the 1950s, taking on small but memorable roles in films like Ill Met by Moonlight in 1957 and Hell Drivers in 1957. His intensity and presence on screen made him stand out from other actors. His early film work caught the attention of Hollywood, which led to chances in major international movies. One of his most notable early appearances came in The Great Escape in 1963, where he starred alongside movie legends like Steve McQueen, James Garner, and Richard Attenborough. His portrayal of Lieutenant Eric Ashley Pitt, the clever dispersal officer, connected with audiences and showed his ability to bring subtlety and depth to supporting roles. This performance turned out to be a stepping stone to worldwide recognition. It was television, however, that made McCallum's place in pop culture history. In 1964, he was cast as Illya Kuryakin, the mysterious and enigmatic Russian agent in the hit spy series The Man from U.N.C.L.E. The show, arriving at the height of the Cold War, was groundbreaking for pairing an American agent, Napoleon Solo, played by Robert Vaughn, with a Russian partner. McCallum's cool style, understated charm, and striking blonde looks quickly turned him into a fan favorite. Audiences were captivated by the way he played Kuryakin with a quiet intensity that balanced Vaughn's more outgoing character. His role sparked a worldwide fan craze, earning him teen idol status during the 1960s and even bringing in thousands of fan letters every week. For many people, Illya Kuryakin became the character that defined his career, and the chemistry between McCallum and Vaughn created one of television's most iconic duos. Though The Man from U.N.C.L.E. ended in 1968, McCallum continued to enjoy a diverse and respected acting career. He worked on television, stage, and in film, appearing in series like Colditz from 1972 to 1974, which showcased his dramatic range, and Sapphire and Steel from 1979 to 1982, a cult classic British science fiction series in which he co-starred with Joanna Lumley. His performances often carried an intelligent quality, bringing both seriousness and humanity to every role. McCallum also embraced voice acting, lending his distinctive voice to many projects over the years, which further broadened his influence and appeal. In addition to his acting, McCallum pursued music with passion. He released several albums in the 1960s through Capitol Records, mixing classical instruments with modern sounds. These instrumental albums, such as Music, A Part of Me and Music, A Bit More of Me, showed his skills not just as a performer but also as an arranger. Long before sampling became mainstream, tracks from his recordings were rediscovered by later generations of musicians and producers, including the use of the Edge in Dr. Dre's famous song The Next Episode. In this way, McCallum's musical legacy unexpectedly reached into modern popular culture, connecting him with new audiences decades after the original recordings. For a new generation of fans, McCallum became best known for his role as Dr. Donald Ducky Mallard on the long-running American television series Census from 2003 to 2023. As the eccentric yet brilliant chief medical examiner, McCallum brought warmth, humor, and wisdom to the character. His portrayal of Ducky was deeply loved by viewers, not just for his quirky stories and Scottish charm, but also for the layers of empathy and humanity he brought to the role. Over 20 seasons, McCallum appeared in more than 450 episodes, making him one of the longest-running cast members of the show. This late career success allowed him to become a household name once again, bridging the gap between fans who loved him in the 1960s and those who discovered him anew in the 2000s. On May 11, 1957, David McCallum entered into his first marriage with actress Jill Ireland in London. Their relationship began in the world of film and creativity as the two met during the production of the British crime drama Hell Drivers in 1957, a movie that would prove to be a pivotal moment in both of their lives for more reasons than one. McCallum, still in the early years of his career, found himself working alongside a talented young actress who shared his passion for performing and storytelling. Their connection grew naturally out of the long hours spent on set, rehearsing lines and dealing with the demanding atmosphere of filmmaking. The chemistry they developed quickly extended beyond the screen, leading to a courtship that resulted in marriage. At the time, McCallum was also building a reputation as a promising actor, and Ireland was steadily building her profile. So their union was not just romantic but also symbolic of two rising talents who were beginning to leave their mark on the entertainment industry. The marriage lasted nearly a decade. But like many relationships tested by the pressures of fame, frequent travel, and the intensity of Hollywood life, it eventually reached a breaking point. After almost 10 years together, their marriage legally ended in February 1967, though the actual separation had happened about 2 years earlier. This meant that McCallum and Ireland had been living apart, trying to adjust to new paths even before the final legalities were settled. During their years as husband and wife, they became the parents of 3 sons, one of whom was Valentine McCallum, who would later go on to build a life of his own in music and the arts. Raising 3 children while managing the unpredictable demands of film careers was no small challenge, and it added both joy and complexity to their family life. Despite the eventual end of the marriage, McCallum remained a devoted father, deeply connected to his sons and determined to play an active role in their lives even as his professional responsibilities continued to grow. Later that same year, on September 16, 1967, David McCallum found lasting happiness when he married Catherine Carpenter in Valley Stream, New York. Catherine, who had begun her career as a fashion model before moving into a successful role as an interior designer, brought both elegance and stability to McCallum's life at a time when he needed it most. Their story began in 1965 when the two first met at a photo shoot for Glamour magazine. McCallum, who was already internationally famous for his role as Illya Kuryakin in the hit series The Man from U.N.C.L.E, was introduced to Carpenter in a setting that combined artistry, style, and modern culture, an environment that reflected both of their worlds. From that first meeting, a strong bond developed between them, one built on shared values, admiration, and mutual respect. Unlike his first marriage, McCallum's union with Catherine Carpenter stood the test of time, lasting an extraordinary 58 years until his passing in 2023. The couple built a family together, raising a son and a daughter, and they created a home life that balanced McCallum's demanding career in television and film with Catherine's pursuits in design. Over the decades, they became known not only for the strength of their marriage but also for their charitable work, as both were active in charitable causes and community efforts. Carpenter often accompanied McCallum at public appearances, premieres, and events, showing the quiet but steady support that kept him going through the ups and downs of Hollywood fame. Their partnership became one of the most enduring in the entertainment world, admired by colleagues and fans alike for its depth, loyalty, and devotion. In the golden years of Hollywood during the late 1950s and 1960 seconds, friendships between actors were often formed in the heat of film sets, long hours, and the pressures of building a career in an industry that was as ruthless as it was glamorous. One of the most talked about friendships of that era was the bond between Scottish actor David McCallum, who would go on to achieve worldwide fame in The Man from U.N.C.L.E, and the tough, brooding American actor Charles Bronson, who rose to fame in gritty action roles. The two men worked together on the 1963 classic war film The Great Escape, and for a time, their friendship seemed genuine and unshakable. However, that very friendship would eventually bring personal turmoil into McCallum's life, leading him to say years later with honesty and a touch of pain that it had cost him everything. When McCallum married the beautiful and talented actress Jill Ireland in 1957, the pair became one of Hollywood's most admired young couples. They appeared to have everything: youth, charm, and a promising future in the movie industry. Their marriage produced 3 sons, and by outward appearances, their lives were a picture of stability in a business not known for such things. Yet, as McCallum himself later admitted, the marriage was not without its struggles, especially as he and Jill's careers pulled them in different directions. McCallum's rising star as Illya Kuryakin on The Man from U.N.C.L.E demanded exhausting hours on set and lots of travel, while Ireland began appearing in films that frequently cast her alongside rugged male leads. Among them, Charles Bronson. It was during The Great Escape that McCallum befriended Bronson. The bond between the two actors came from the unique experience of working on a film that required team chemistry. "Charlie and I got along well," McCallum recalled. "We'd share meals, we'd talk about the work, and I respected him immensely as an actor." To McCallum, Bronson was someone he could trust, a fellow actor with whom he could share not just professional respect but personal friendship. McCallum even went so far as to invite Bronson into his family's life, encouraging Jill to get to know him, believing that the connection was built on loyalty and shared experiences. But as time passed, Bronson and Jill Ireland grew closer to close. What began as friendship turned into a romantic relationship, and eventually Jill left McCallum to be with Bronson. The fallout was devastating for McCallum, both personally and emotionally. To lose his wife of a decade was already a heavy blow, but to lose her to a man he considered a friend made it all the more painful. Reflecting on the betrayal, McCallum admitted, "I was shattered. You don't expect your best friend to become your wife's lover." Though he carried himself with grace publicly, in private, the wound cut deeply. For him, the friendship with Bronson had ultimately cost him his marriage, his home life, and the trust he had once placed in people he considered close. Yet, even in the face of heartbreak, McCallum showed remarkable strength. While Jill Ireland married Charles Bronson in 1968, McCallum chose not to let bitterness consume him. Instead, he threw himself into his work and into raising his children. Years later, when asked about that period, he remarked with remarkable maturity, "I never hated Charlie. It would have been pointless. He gave Jill what she wanted, and in the end, everyone must choose their own path." His words revealed a man who had found a measure of peace, even though the scars of that broken friendship remained with him. What made McCallum's perspective even more remarkable was the fact that his children often spent time with Jill and Bronson after the marriage. Rather than create animosity, McCallum allowed his sons to maintain strong ties with their mother and her new husband, showing an emotional generosity that few in his situation could have managed. "The children's happiness mattered most," McCallum explained. "I wanted them to feel loved and secure no matter what had happened between the adults." Looking back, the story of David McCallum, Jill Ireland, and Charles Bronson is one of Hollywood's most dramatic tales of friendship, betrayal, and strength. While McCallum's friendship with Bronson may have cost him everything in terms of his marriage and family life, it also revealed the depth of his character. He chose dignity over hatred, responsibility over resentment, and forgiveness over revenge. That decision not only shaped the way he was remembered as a man, but also offered a lesson in grace to anyone who has ever faced betrayal at the hands of a friend. In McCallum's own words, "Life goes on. It always does. You either cling to the pain, or you learn to let it go. I chose the latter." David McCallum, the beloved Scottish actor whose career spanned more than 7 decades and touched millions of fans across the globe, passed away at the age of 90 on September 25, 2023. His death occurred at New York Presbyterian Hospital in New York City, bringing to a close a remarkable life filled with artistry, strength, and an enduring connection with audiences young and old. In a poignant twist of fate that felt almost scripted by destiny itself, McCallum's passing came on the very same day that CBS aired a special 20th anniversary mini-marathon of U.N.C.L.E, the crime procedural drama that introduced him to an entirely new generation of viewers.